And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break podcast. It's Gerald Glasser coming right back at you here from Lakers Fast Break, Pop Culture Cosmos, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, and Game Source. We truly appreciate everyone out there listening to all of our great shows. And if you can, please give us that 5-star review wherever you get your podcasts. Plus, if you can like, share, subscribe, follow, or do whatever it is that you can to support us right here at the Lakers Fast Break. Pop Culture Cosmos, Game Source, Inside Sports Fantasy Football, of course, the great folks at LakersBall.com. Go ahead and check out what Ox1947, aka Joe Soro, is talking about each and every day at LakersBall.com. And you know he's talking a lot right there at LakersBall.com. Plus, Laker Tom even has more crazy trades coming up right there for you. Also, as well, he's got a lot of great articles on the queue at Lakerholics.com. Join him and Jamie Sweet and his 5 things. He is the number one Lakers blogger that is. He is Laker Tom and Jamie Sweet. They're both together at Lakerholics.com. Plus, our good friends at the Hoop Heads Podcast Network. And if you need your lawn transformed, please go ahead and join us today right there for you at Sinblades with a Y.com. All right. Yes, subscribe, indeed, because if you can, please go ahead and help us out here on the channel. If you like what we do, you can get the latest notifications of when we go live on the air by subscribing below Sean the Magic Man today, right there for you on YouTube. We need all the help we can get and all the support that we can get because we try to provide you the best in Lakers talk and NBA talk right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Well, it's been an interesting day, even though the Lakers are not playing today. They are playing tomorrow against Utah, halfway through the homestand. But we're still coming off the buzz from last night's overtime victory, 120-117 over the New Orleans Pelicans. We're still coming off that Matt Ryan buzz. You know, Matty Ice I'm seeing all over the place. And, you know, everybody's just, enamored with Matty Ryan right now. So hopefully that can continue. Hopefully he can become a sharpshooter for the team and a team that's desperate for some sharpshooting. But here today to talk about the Lakers and where we stand, and also as well the Kyrie Irving situation, which has gotten even darker and darker with at least a 5-game suspension that was announced by the team earlier today. It's a good man indeed. First man up, first man here. You got to go ahead and hear what he's saying today, obviously, at LakersBall.com, and of course, right here at the Lakers Fast Break. It is Joe Soro, and Joe, great to have you here, my friend. Just want to make sure, and everybody know, again, please go ahead and subscribe to us here at YouTube so you can hear the latest notifications on when we go live on the air, and the latest times that we can go ahead and talk about Lakers basketball, including right now. You were encouraged last night, but what went on as far as their second victory in a row, what's going on with the Lakers? Are you still, after taking a deep breath, per se, halfway through this homestand, are you still positive on what's going on with the Lakers right now? You're on mute.
Sorry, there's a cohesiveness that's starting to build a little. I've been very pleased with how Anthony Davis has played. Pleased that Russell Westbrook has embraced his new role and is playing similar to old Westbrook to some degree. Not all the way. We'll never see that again, but to some degree, at least within a team concept. Lonnie Walker is impressing. I know he's impressed me. Someone dropping 28 points, as a fourth option is a pretty nice number, and showing a lot of flashes of athleticism and really, really good basketball and really good shooting. Even Lonnie Walker shot 5 of 9 from 3. If I'm not expecting him to do that every time out, but I would like to see, 3 out of 7, maybe 3 out of 7 every game. That would work. The current future tomorrow, Sunday, Monday. I don't know, man. I'm really, really crossing my fingers that they can win tomorrow. I I know Cleveland is going to be really tough
Yes.
on Sunday. However, it is a afternoon game, and I always notice coast visiting teams, depending on which side they're coming from, doesn't matter which side they're coming from. Usually, that early game kind of has them a little off. So I'm hoping that we can catch the Cavs a little bit groggy, and if they can sneak that win, we're looking at 4-5. Is that am I looking at? Yeah,
Yes, you
4-5
are correct.
going into that Utah game on the next day.
Mm-hmm.
Utah on a back-to-back usually means bad things. So between Cleveland and Utah, if we can come out 1-1 after those two, I wouldn't be upset. But if we can get lucky and have a little run here and even out the record, it would be very encouraging in terms of the potential of what this team can be.
Well, it's not yet, but it's not a back-to-back per se. It's a bookend. They bookend the Cleveland game. They're Friday and then next Wednesday.
What do you mean?
Because you said they're back-to-back with Utah.
Yeah. November 6th, we're playing Cleveland. November 7th, we're playing Utah.
Okay, I just thought you were talking about Utah.
I'm talking about the Utah game the second time.
Yeah, okay.
Not the first one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
okay.
the Lakers have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I think I might have said this wrong on the last show. So they have 5 games between tomorrow and the following Friday. If they could go 4-1, because I really think they're going to win next Wednesday against the Clippers. I have a really, really good feeling for some reason that they're finally going to get a win over those guys after as long as they have. They have to bust that at some point. But if they can get out of this next 5 games 4-1, that means Rob Pelinka really has to do something to bring in a couple guys. There is no other way to look at this. If he doesn't, they're going to have that lost opportunity to really try and salvage a possible run. A run at something. I don't know if it's going to be a title. That's going to be dictated by who they bring in. And we're gonna talk a little bit about Kyrie Irving, more about the. I'm gonna keep it brief on the distractions outside, but more about how this is going to affect what I think is going to happen in those situations and why the Lakers need to focus on other things.
Yeah,
that's what I'm gonna speak heavily on, because the NBA is distracted. Brooklyn is distracted. When your enemy is distracted, that's when you do your business. And I think the Lakers really need to take advantage of the fact that they're not the butt of jokes right now. Right now, it's the Nets, it's Adam Silver, it's these guys that don't know what the hell to do with this situation. So when you don't have that attention on you, try to get your stuff together here so you can better yourselves.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more on that. It's great that the Lakers are not the focus right now of what's going on with the NBA. Truly appreciate the fact that it's a chance for the Lakers, like you said, to go under the radar just a little bit because of all the drama that they've had over the course of the summer with the Westbrook saga and all that. And it's also glad to see that maybe, just maybe, we might have found a place in the rotation for Russell Westbrook after 2 games. We'll see how that works out or continues to work out. And also if he continues to buy into that concept, because he's still playing 30 plus minutes. He's still giving a contribution and a usage rate similar to what he had as a starter. Just let's see if we can go ahead and continue those positive vibes from the team after winning 2 in a row. But also here today to talk about today's game is a good man indeed. He is the Magic Man from Toronto. He is the Madman from Toronto. He's getting out of Toronto traffic. You got to go ahead and check him out every time. He's here and available at the Lakers Fast Break. It is Sean Grice. And Sean, great to have you here. Keeping my fingers crossed. Everything sounds okay. We're on Restream. I know that's your mortal enemy, but we'll see what give you able to try. No echo as of yet, but I'm hoping that you'll be able to go ahead and elaborate on the Lakers' past couple games and what they can do for the rest of this homestand. You're on mute. You're on mute. I don't have you on mute. You're on mute yourself. Your microphones are turned off. Okay. No worries. I tell you what, you play around with it. You go ahead and continue to give it a try. No, still don't hear anything. Yeah. It's just not great, but I still will. You keep playing with it, trying to configure out in the settings, and we'll go from there. Joe, I know that Sean has been very adamant about his thoughts on the Lakers so far, as far as where they should go ahead, and as far as keep on with the rotation, as far as where they want to go ahead with it. Matt Ryan, is he going to become a regular part of the rotation? He seems very spotty in the lineup. We all know that because of the fact he can shoot, he's not playing the greatest defense in the world, which is the reason why. I've seen the comparisons to Duncan Robinson, but the fact is Duncan Robinson went from a starter to almost a non-factor last year to somewhat of a factor again this year on Miami, because of the fact that his defense is going to dictate how much he plays. So your thoughts on Matt Ryan and how much of a contribution he can make to this team?
I believe if he works on at least an average setup of defense, he's going to be an extremely valuable rotation player. He's got really good height. He's 25 years old and a really good shot. And in an NBA in 2022, this is all you really need. Using the NFL as an example, no matter how good you are on defense, it doesn't really matter because it's an offensive-oriented league. The NBA, in a lot of ways, is similar. The reason why the three-point shot is so popular is because teams have analytically figured out that it's better to chance a three and make it versus going after twos. What does that mean in the end? I don't know. I guess you'd have to, if you're shooting at a 40% clip, I guess the averages work out in your favor. But he definitely has a skill set that the Lakers desperately need, which is making shots, making 3-point shots, and he just needs to work on his team defense, at least his team defense. Maybe not his individual, but at least his team defense. And I think the Lakers kind of have already building a little bit of chemistry on that side, and having AD there definitely helps kind of cover up some of the holes here and there. That's, again, why it's so crucial to have AD healthy and playing, because he is an eraser in a lot of ways. He is an eraser. And for those who are wanting him to play like Shaq, I think it's unrealistic because of that. That's one of the reasons why. And on offense, the reason why AD is not as free-flowing as we would want him to be is because defenses are collapsing almost on every series because they know that the Lakers have problems shooting. I want the crowd out there, I want the Laker fandom out there to understand the game. I know that sounds condescending and patronizing, but I don't think a lot of these guys that watch the Lakers that call themselves Laker fans really understand the game a lot of times. They just look at the ball getting shot, misses or makes, and that's it. Watch the players. Watch what AD is doing. Watch why he wants to play the 4, not the 5, okay? It's not just because he's soft or he's this and he's that. Okay, maybe there's some truth to it, but there's a reason why he's adamant about it. It's because it's in his best interest in terms of his skill set to play in this particular position. And don't just blame him for this. This was a Tim Duncan thing. Tim Duncan did not want to be called a center either. His skill set was the 4. He is considered by many as the best power forward of all time. I remember I heard plenty of times, he's a center. He's a center. He's not. He's a power forward. Just because he's 7 feet tall doesn't make him a center. So putting this,
I might have to disagree with that one there.
When Duncan was winning championships, he either had David Robinson at the 5, or God, what is
Well, he had
You're right.
Ginobili at
No,
Parker.
No. It's center.
It was he one year he had Robert Ory, another year he had I believe it was I want to say Tim Thomas. I think Tim Thomas might have been on there one year.
Kurt Thomas.
Kurt Thomas.
Kurt Thomas. Yeah, sorry, not Kurt, not Tim. Kurt. I get them confused a lot. Anyway, like Joe blasted it out of the park with his Lakers take. I can't add anything to
I'm
that.
not the biggest Tim Duncan fan in the world, so I probably will excuse myself from this conversation.
Yeah, no. Wait a minute. Yes, Rasho Nesterovic.
Nesterovic. Yeah. I knew it was a Slavic name. I just couldn't remember exactly what it was.
Joe's correct in that sense. When they won championships, Duncan was the center. That's true. But here's
was the power forward.
Power forward. Excuse me. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right about that. But here's something that's very interesting to me. I was a big cinephile at a time, and one of my favorite directors of all time is John Ford, and he directed The Searchers, which is a fantastic film. Anyway, he once said, when the narrative becomes fact. When the legend becomes fact, print the legend. So in other words, the legend over the real story. It's a line from Who Shot Liberty Valance. Anyway, there's a narrative around Jerry West and Tim Duncan. Jerry West is often thought of as a shooting guard. So I have one question for hoop heads out there, and I'll ask Joe and Gerald. It's a very simple question, and all it requires is a yes or no answer. Was Gail Goodrich a point guard?
I would probably say no.
He was a scoring guard.
Right. So Jerry West was the point guard then. Jerry West was the point guard. And if you look at...
I just think the way they ran that offense... Well, let me say this. I just think the way they ran that offense under Sharman, I just think that...
Gerald, hold on. I'm on a roll here, man. I don't want to get off here. So if you look at like historians, like these lists of top 10 whatever, Jerry West is always on a list of shooting guards. He's never on a list of point guards, never. And he was one of the best. Like in that 1960 draft, that 1-2, Oscar Robertson and Jerry West, that's the best 1-2 draft ever, because you're talking about not only two of the best perimeter players of all time, I'd argue they're the two of the top 7 point guards of all time. And to follow up what Joe was saying about Tim, it's true. When Tim came into the league, David Robinson got hurt. They sat him, Pop sat him, and Boston thought they were going to end up with Tim Duncan, but they ended up drafting Keith Van Horn. They didn't end up with Tim Duncan.
That was the Nets.
Yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, the Nets.
They drafted Chauncey Billups.
Yeah.
Remember, Nets. Van Horn played on the Nets finals team.
Right. Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah. Billups was on the Celtics, and then he ended up on the Raptors. Right. Yeah. Excuse me. But anyway, Duncan was a center at Wake Forest for all 4 years. He was listed as a center throughout his career, through the stat sheet, through articles. He was listed as center. The minutes played per game for Duncan over his career is 2/3 of his minutes were spent as a power forward and 1/3 was spent at center. So he's often thought of as a center, right? Or a point forward. But he was an effective center as well. He's often not thought of as one of the most versatile bigs, but if you look at it, like one of the craziest stats to me ever in sports is this: between Tim Duncan and Kobe Bryant, okay, there are 27 all NBA selections. Kobe had 12, Duncan had 15. Kobe had 9 first.
All right.
I believe all NBA. But anyway, the point is, neither one of them won Defensive Player of the Year. Neither one of them. And Yeah. So what I'm saying is Duncan's often just looked at as a power forward when I'd argue he was the most versatile big man the NBA's ever seen.
Well, let's circle this back into the Lakers back now. Okay, that's great. Again,
All
you
right.
guys are awesome.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because we got to get back on touch on the Lakers
Right.
because
So
I do want to go ahead and touch on Kyrie.
Yeah. So back to the Lakers. I agree with Joe. I can't add anything about Ryan. I think I think if he's able to play just solid defense and he hustles out there, what more can you ask from him? Really, he is what he is at this point. He's a great shooter. I think if he hustles, if he plays hard, he could turn into a rotational player. I really do. I also agree with Joe about Lonnie Walker. I think that he adds like a very, very finely tuned finesse game. And like Joe said, he's not going to shoot 55% from beyond the arc every game. But if he shoots, 35%, that's great. Bene.
Yeah, we'll see. I hope it does get better for him. I hope he does become more of a part of the rotation. I think after his winnings in regards to him and his great shot at the last second of the, actually the fourth quarter there for the Lakers and their win, I obviously think that's going to give him the kind of boost to at least for the next week or so be a good part of the rotation. I think it's someone you're going to see a lot more of Matt Ryan, at least in the short term. I'd say in the long term, because again, his playing time will be solely dependent on the consistency of his three-point shot. As long as his three-point shot keeps falling at a decent clip, he'll be on the roster, he'll be in the rotation, and once it starts to go, then we'll wait and see. That's the thing I want to go ahead and stress out.
And I don't like the nickname Matty Ice. I mean, can we please come up with original ideas? Those would be the first suggestions.
Well, that's again it's already gone through Lakers Nation. I think that's already lost by this point in time. So AR-15, all those other nicknames, Hillbilly Kobe. But again, the Lakers won 2 in a row. Joe, you feel it's imperative that the Lakers go 3-1 over the next 4 games at the very least. Is that not correct from what I understood for your statements yesterday?
Yes, because if they're going to have a chance at trying to make the playoffs instead of making the play-in, they have to get back to 500 pretty quickly here. Mm. It can't be something where it takes until December to get there. This has to happen right now, as soon as possible. Your situation calls for it. You've got home game tomorrow. You got a home game on Sunday. You go on the road the next day. Then you're back home, even though it's a Clipper home game, but you're back home on that Wednesday. And then you're playing in Sacramento, which, you're not traveling that far. And you're playing a team that I think you need to serve some butt whooping on from what they did to you in the preseason. That the Clippers and the Sacramento Kings one. If I'm Darvin Ham, I go back. I hope I get out of you. I hope we beat Utah tomorrow. We have at least 1-1 record versus either Cleveland or Utah. And then after that, you need to be up in their grills and say, guys, I'm sick and tired of losing to the Clippers. Let's whoop some ass, okay, on Wednesday. And we owe a little bit of cold dishes for Sacramento up in what used to be Staples North. Technically, it's not the same stadium, but you know what I mean. So this is going to come down to a mentality. The mentality now needs to go, okay, guys, we're getting a little bit of momentum here. We've got the Westbrook saga away. You have the NBA falling all over themselves because that's what happens when you're a bumbling bunch of morons and can't fix things because you're too worried about PR garbage. Let's focus on whooping ass the next week and a half. Let's do it. Let's win. Let's get the 500 at least by next Friday at worst. And let's start winning some games here. Let's start going into these games and going, we're the freaking Lakers, man. We have AD. We have AD dropping 20, 16, 4 and 4. And he'll even add a couple of steals in there. You have LeBron, who got almost a triple-double, basically barely being able to stand up because he had the flu and a sore foot. Come on, guys. And you have guys that are playing their butts off like Lonnie Walker and Matt Ryan and these guys and even AR-15. Why don't you just keep building on that? And, Rob, try to get something done here. Please bring some reinforcements in here. Figure something out. Create a relationship somewhere. That's, I think, a lot of the reasons why they can't do anything is because everybody hates this guy.
Absolutely. Almost as much as they hate the Brooklyn Nets. So
now, see, if Joe was a football coach and that was a pregame speech, I would have ran through a brick wall. That was inspiring. I really hope they win 3 out of 4 now, because I think Joe just put out some really good juju. And so go ahead, Joe.
It comes down to this, guys. It's interesting you said that, because my wife used to ask me why I didn't coach football.
Why didn't you?
I didn't coach football because a couple reasons. Number one, I would have needed to be in the right situation. I know that's kind of cliche to say that, but I would have had to have been in a situation where I could dictate how I really want to coach a football team.
No interference.
Yeah. Unfortunately, when you're coming up, let's say through the high school ranks, because that's likely where I could have started, there's a lot of politics involved. And as I got older, I remembered some of the stuff we dealt with when I was in high school. We wasted a whole year on the seniors when we were juniors. The juniors were 10 times better than the senior football team. And when I look back on it and how they really screwed that up, and then they screwed up a lot of the coaching, even when we were playing, we were dominant. I was part of a dominant team. We were running 400, 500 yards. I was the starting center of that team. I played 6 weeks with a broken hand and still made all league. And I look back at that time and I think to myself, would I be what's the name of that guy in Varsity Blues? John Voight played Coach Kilmer. That guy
Kilmer.
Bud Kilmer. He was a complete jerk. I would have never gone to those ranks. It was almost like Bobby Knightish in a way. But I also wouldn't be the guy that was gonna sugarcoat
James Caan in the program.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good one, Sean. That's a really good one. It would have been one of those things where I know I would have been in a predicament where I would have told a parent that your kid's not good enough,
right?
And that probably wouldn't have that probably would not have gone well. Someone would have said something lame like, well, you should have said it better. You should have. Basically what Adam Silver and Joe Tsai and the NBA are doing right now to Kyrie.
Yes.
Not understanding that this guy does not give two dumps
blanks
for what you think, what your mom thinks, what your dad thinks, what your ancestors think, what your neighbor. He doesn't give a F. Get over it. Do something about it or don't. So it's the same situation here. I would have been in a predicament where I'm like, I know what I'm doing with my football team. Your kid isn't good enough. The guy in front of him is. Go sit down or quit. And it's likely if it's a big booster or something like that, I would have been jettisoned out, right? So I didn't want to get myself into that. Plus, and the second thing is I'm not a big traveler. I mean, I like to travel, but I like to be in one spot. And in coaching, the same reason why I didn't get in the same reason why I didn't get in the radio 12, 13 years ago when I could have, is you're bouncing around a lot, and I don't like that. So that's why I didn't go that route. And as far as the Lakers are concerned, my motivational tactics are always based off of dominance. It's Mamba mentality. I mean, it was called Mamba mentality 15 years ago, maybe not even 15 years ago. Black Mamba was born, 2004, 2005, right? When Kobe had that whole fiasco, what he was dealing with. But Mamba mentality was, I think, more like the last 6-7 years. That's always been there. It's just not had a name now. The Mamba mentality is dominating what you're doing, dominating in a way where you have full confidence you don't always win. You don't always make the right call, but your confidence is always battle of attrition. Because even when you're wrong, even when you lose, it's just an obstacle you got to get around to keep winning.
So athletes often say they listen or watch Kobe highlights before a big game. Pat Mahomes has said it. Tom Brady has said it. I've heard, I believe Lendell White has said it too. First responders also do that as well. I used to watch that Kobe Adidas commercial where he talks about the 5 pillars of the Mamba mentality. How you have to have confidence, honesty, you have to be fearless, you black out, and you sacrifice. Those are the 5 pillars of the Mamba mentality. And in 3 weeks, I'm getting my Mamba tattoo. So that's going to be
but Joe doesn't like tattoos.
That's okay.
I don't.
Everybody's not a tattoo person. That's all right. What's wrong with that? There's nothing wrong with that. Anyway, I love it. I love what Joe had to say. I'm gonna say, yeah, I'm gonna say they're gonna win 3 out of the next 4. And this trio right here, we did say 5-5 for the first 10. So if they are 5-6, that's not bad actually. I'd feel okay about that after 11 games.
Well, they're a
to be quite
competitive team.
honest. Yeah,
If they're 5-6. That shows that right now they are a competitive team, which is a lot better than what many of us had thought they would be heading into that point in time. And I think that's what counts right now. So definitely looking forward to seeing what's going to go on for the rest of the homestand, and if they can become a competitive team and somebody that hopefully the Lakers fans can get behind. Just a team that Lakers fans can get behind because they've gone through so much this summer.
We need to be a lunchbox team. That's the only way. That's the only way we're going to battle through this 82 game season. If either marginal or significant improvements aren't made, bring your lunchbox and your hard hat for 48 minutes, and whoever's playing,
go ahead.
Yeah. No, Coach Ham's approach right now is the best 5 is going to play at the end of the game. Who's ever playing the best is going to play, regardless of position.
Well, there you go. Let's hope
and you're playing your schedule after the first 10 games starts to get very interesting in terms of competitiveness. You have, after that Sacramento game, you have Brooklyn coming to LA, and we'll get to Brooklyn in a second here.
Yeah.
Then you have 4 days off, which means, and I think the 2 days off between this last game and the game before it really helped AD. AD didn't wince at all the whole game, and there's some shoulder digging and some pretty good stuff going on in this last game, and he didn't wince once. He got hit, I think, sort of on the neck, and then fell down. It might have been the old game. That might have been that game. It was the New Orleans game, and kind of caught himself a little bit and then caught up. But you're talking about Brooklyn, 4 days off, mind you, 4 days off. You're in LA, and then you're home until the Detroit game that Friday. You have almost like a whole week off. And you're still at home. Then you got San Antonio 2 days later on a Sunday at home. Then you got to go to Phoenix a couple days later. Let's say that's probably likely going to be a loss. And then after that, you got 2 days off in San Antonio in back-to-back games. Then you got Indiana 2 days later, and then you finish off the month on the 30th against Portland. So if I had to, let's say if you've got a healthy LeBron, not sick or anything, and AD's doing his thing, and Westbrook has still embraced his role with guys here and there kind of pulling their weight, taking turns. Let's get realistic about how they can end this month. So let's say they win tomorrow, lose. Let's say they lose in Utah, but beat Cleveland by some. Let's say that happens. So right now you're 2-1. They beat the Clippers. They beat Sacramento. That's 4-1 by next Friday. Now you're looking at 6-6 at the 11th of November at that evening. 6 of 6. Then you got Brooklyn. I think they can win that game. Detroit. I think they can win that game. Now you're sitting at 8-6. San Antonio home, 9-6. In Phoenix a couple days later, I'll take that as a loss, 9-7. San Antonio, back-to-back games. Let's say they split those. Let's say they split them. So what are we at? 10-7, and then
10-8.
10-8. So then let's say if we beat Indiana at home, Portland at home, those last 2 games of the month. Now you're looking at a 12-8 team, and now you're going into December with a record, in my opinion, which would be a surprise after how this all started.
So if that happened, that would actually be, for me, really positive, because you started out the first 10 5-5, and then you won 7 of 10.
You go into December now really understanding that you are probably 2 impact players away from really, barring a major injury, you are 2 players away from really putting this together for a run. And that's where I stand today. This all can blow up. If they lose on Friday, lose on Sunday, lose to Utah in Utah, we're probably going back to where we thought we were going to be. And it's likely that's likely the realistic side of this, especially considering if Matt Ryan doesn't hit that 3, we're not likely talking this right now. Right now, we're in depression. So those shots sometimes can change a season.
But that last 2 minutes, again, delved into very poor execution on the half court end. It was LeBron doing his best James Harden impersonation, carrying it out through the entire 20 seconds of the 24-second shot clock. And, it did not look good until Matt Ryan essentially saved the game for the Lakers by putting it into overtime. So I'm curious to see where we stand, come December, if Joe's planning and hopes are right. And I'm saying that if that's the case and the Lakers do manage to squeeze out a 500 record or higher heading into December, I think that's a positive sign, especially after the atrocious start that we went through. And I think that all Lakers fans, including myself, would be ecstatic if that happens. And it would look like a brighter future and a potential playoff future for the Lakers if that happens. So looking forward to that indeed. But before we head on out, guys, once again, it's the Lakers Fast Break with Sean, the Magic Man, Grice, the madman from Toronto, the guy who can't get out of Toronto traffic, and also as well, Ox 1947, a.k.a.
Worst
Joe
in
Soro.
North America.
So you told me, which is the reason why I dropped that on you, and you don't seem to mind. It makes L.A. almost look... Well, L.A.'s pretty bad. Orange County's pretty bad. But, yeah, I've heard you're more the first person to say that Toronto traffic is pretty bad. But I will say before we head on out, I've only got a few minutes left to talk about the Kyrie Irving situation, which is actually denigrated itself even further. The dumpster fire, which we talked about at the beginning of the show, the Brookly Nets has gotten even larger, which actually, Joe has said correctly that it's actually a disaster at this point, because Kyrie Irving, in a press conference today after practice, he was given the opportunity to go ahead and clear the air, so to speak, in a positive manner in regards to the tweet that he had made in regards to the documentary, which has a lot of anti-Semitism tropes, and we've talked about on the show, especially earlier this week with these same 2 guys, and don't want to go off on that tangent again because we got praised and vilified for it all in the same breath. But I will say that because he did not disavow or apologize for it, no matter the fact that he gave $500,000 to the Anti-Defamation League, they, by the way, have just announced that they are rescinding that. They've actually do not want any part of that money. The Brooklyn Nets, because are just with Joe Tsai, are just had enough of this Kyrie fiasco. Hold on, let me finish. Well, let me finish because they announced that they have put him on suspension for at least 5 games. It's a team suspension, not a league suspension. It's a team suspension for at least 5 games. And it's come to the point where I think they're just finally trying to wash their hands after all the Kyrie stuff that is done over the past 2-3 seasons in Brooklyn. I think they're finally starting to feel like, hey, we're done. I was wrong. I thought that Kyrie would stay on the straight and narrow for at least one season because it's contract year. Boy, am I wrong, and I'm wrong by a long shot on that one. But I'm going to start with you, Joe. Your thoughts on this, my friend, in regards to this, because it looks like this Kyrie Irving situation has really gotten a whole lot worse.
Adam Silver and the NBA need to take lessons from Kyrie Irving and Ben Simmons. I don't really put Kevin Durant in this. He hasn't really affected the league more than himself. He's more of, he's kind of doing what some players do. Hey, I want to be traded. That's nothing new, and that I would still consider that somewhat normal. But Adam Silver needs to start really understanding that if you're going to pick a position, you need to go all the way. There is no balancing anymore. The thing that bothers me the most about all of this is you would find yourself you would not be dealing with this stuff as much if there was more accountability, literal accountability with players who are not living up to their contractual obligation. Kyrie Irving is a professional basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets. Ben Simmons is a professional basketball player for the Brooklyn Nets. If these guys aren't going to be professional athletes for the companies, teams that they've agreed to work for, then there needs to be a consequence for that. If you're going to suspend these guys or they're going to just decide that I don't want to play, there needs to be an accountability done there. You don't want to play? No problem. You're not getting paid. Adam, you don't want these guys having these comments? Kick them out of the league. Baseball doesn't with steroids. This isn't rocket science.
And domestic abuse.
Fernando Tatis hasn't played in a year. You have any idea how much that guy helps Major League Baseball? But their code, their ethics on steroids is a no tolerance. Now it's time for you to do it. If these comments really bother you and bothers your league and puts it in a bad light, you need to stop riffraffing. And how is this going to help the Lakers? Because I'm selfish. I'm a Laker fan. I'm glad this is happening because now no one's talking about Russell Westbrook. No one's talking about Russell Westbrook. No one's talking about the Lakers. And wow, what a coincidence. Everyone's playing really well right now. So for me, let Brooklyn burn. They did it to themselves, and that's what you get. And I've been an Adam Silver fan since the beginning, but over the last few years, he has catered way too much to the noise, and now he's eating it. So now you have to eat it, Adam. But you're going to have to at some point get full and start focusing on what matters. What matters is you are the commissioner of a $20 billion league.
Act like an authority figure. Act like an authority figure. Don't act like you're their friends.
And that's the part that I understand the climate turned into what it turned into, but you still have to be you can't, how do I say this? You can't let the noise distract you. You gotta still do your job. That's why you have that position. And they'll call you names and they'll call you whatever it is, you don't care, or you're some rich guy and all that. And Adam's capable of returning a response that's very good there. He's got all the goods. He's a lawyer. he's also a very down to earth guy, common sense guy. Adam, just kind of take care of yourself. Take care of your mindset here. Stop trying to make everyone happy.
Waffle. Don't waffle.
Don't waffle. And the thing that bothered me about what's gone on this last year with Adam is the guy that actually backed you up, which was Adam Silver. A lot of his players ended up, just because they didn't get what they want, for whatever particular situation it was. Now all of a sudden he's the problem. I'm like, dude, this guy turned his whole league upside down for you. And the moment that he needed some backup for once, you guys left him in the lurch. So, Adam, that's what these guys do, okay? People only care about what they care about. That's what they do. Kyrie Irving cares about his focus. LeBron cares about his focus. And they're different. They're different focuses. And each one thinks theirs is more important. That's what entitled children, that's how they think. These are entitled children. They're not adults. They're adults by age, okay?
That's it. That's it.
You have to imagine something here, guys. You have to imagine something really, really easy. These guys have been catered to since they were teenagers. If you actually think these guys weren't getting pampered since they were 14, because I'm giving it until high school. When they hit high school, these guys were skilled, okay? They were getting a lot of perks. Heck, I was nowhere near the athletes these guys were, and I had a lot of perks in high school, okay? Maybe not this, but people and
Well, let me put it to you this way. The one thing that's irritated me with this whole situation, I want to bring it to both you and Sean on this, is that fact that no player that's active, the best of my knowledge as of this recording, has said anything in regards to this as far as one way or the other.
Yeah,
we've heard. We've heard Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We've heard the guys from TNT, Shaq, and Charles Barkley, and Reggie Miller say a lot about this in calling, as much as paraphrasing Shaq, calling Kyrie an idiot for this. Yet we've heard no player say this. He is the vice president of the Players Association, I think, if I remember correctly, or at least on the board.
I know why, and I'll tell you when we're off the air.
Okay, well,
it's much deeper than most people would want to.
Oh, I'd assume as such.
So there's a pattern of behavior that's, you can't ignore it. Like when, again, Joe brought it up, I brought it up. When they go to negotiate, they're going to bring him up. He is going to be a huge topic when negotiations start for the new CBA. And Simmons is going to be a topic, like Joe said. And I also think James Harden will be a topic as well.
No, you said this, Sean. You said this a while ago. You said this a few shows ago. And I think, and that was the trigger. That was like the seed that put it together. Because when you used all three together, that was really where all this started. Everybody blames LeBron for this exodus of people, of teams. I'm like, no. Even when the decision happened, I'm like, wait a minute, guys, you're not paying attention. LeBron has never requested a trade or decide.
Yeah, you're right.
He's never said, you got to do this and that, or I'm going to do this. No, he said either you do it or I'm bouncing. That's different.
Right. And all three of these guys have, in one way or another, manipulated the teams they played for to get what they wanted. And the owners aren't going to stand for this. I know that the social media crowd is getting a lot of blowback from people like us who think that a lockout is coming. It's coming. Like you can try and be in denial all you want, but as far as Kyrie is concerned, I think the NBA, as Joe said, would have been better served to come to Joe Tsai and say, "Look, Joe, we know you're sick of his crap. And we're sick of his crap too, because now it's affecting our bottom line. Because as soon as you start losing advertisers, that's when the antennas go up. When you start losing those advertising dollars, that's when people start getting very concerned about whatever issue is the topic du jour. And they should have done this at the beginning of the year. If they suspended him for the first 5 games, I don't think. Well, it's hard to say. That's hindsight, right? But it's hard for me to imagine a worse situation for that organization to find themselves in than right now. If they had just sat him down at the beginning of the year and say, "Look, we are sick of your crap. You are in a contract year. If you want to play in the NBA again, you'd be best served to be in your best behavior."
And I already know
But
that in the chat room that it's been brought up as far as from Blue, if this will be the end of his career. I don't think so. Again,
I
Miles
think he
Bridges.
can.
Well, hold on, because
Yeah,
Miles Bridges today, I guess, pleaded no contest to the stuff in the California court, and it looks like he'll probably play at some point in time down the road in the league because he's not going to
and
get jail time. I really
no,
think that Kyrie will get another place in the NBA, whether we like it or not. It's just that
You
simple.
said something the other day, Gerald. You said the NBA is doing really well right now, right?
I said as far as the basketball being played, the actual game is beautiful to watch. I love high scoring. Believe me, it's my following from way back with the Lakers, Showtime, Run and Gun, following the Loyola Marymount Lions under Paul Westhead and seeing how they went as far as they did on their just absolutely insane way of playing offense. I love high scoring games. I love high scoring teams. And the league, ever since it's got away from the take foul, has really started to go ahead and blossom as a product, Joe. Not as far as as far as a presentational product under normal circumstances. I think is probably something I wanted to go ahead and make sure that was
We're,
clear.
we're,
well,
we're
well,
sorry. Sure, go ahead, Sean.
yeah, no, sorry, Joe, for
That's good.
interrupting. I was just gonna say, all of this is truly ironic because when the Brooklyn Nets season tickets came out, Ben Simmons wasn't on them. They advertised KD and Kyrie, and something, Gerald. I can't remember a situation where just about 99.99% of all basketball fans, all sports fans, want to see this implosion. It's like watching a volcano erupt. It really is. Except it's not as beautiful. It's almost as if revenge is a dish best served cold, like Joe was trying to say. I mean, no one's talking about us now. 96 hours can change a lot. We won 2 games, and
Yep.
now they're the dumpster
Can you believe it? The
fire.
Lakers are the under the radar team of the NBA. Under the radar.
I
There
love
you
it.
go.
I love it. I love it. For the first time ever, we're under the radar, and I'm actually happy about that because for something good.
Yes, absolutely indeed. But Joe, any last thoughts on what's going on with the Kyrie situation before we head on out, my friend?
Well, it's exposing everyone, like I've always been saying. Everyone thinks this public pressure that people wilt under is it's laughable. It's a laughable thing. No one gives 2 craps. You're asking why are the NBA players silent right now?
That's what I'm asking.
I think you know the answer. Most of the people watching right now know the answer.
Well, we've guessed, we've surmised, and we've thrown, I guess, in the chat. He's the VP of the players'
No, that has
organization.
nothing to do with him being a VP because most
Okay.
I would take a guess that
There could be other reasons as well, and I don't want to go ahead into that on the
most
show.
will not argue against it, and that's why they're not saying anything. So
That's why you do it off the air. I understand.
yeah. So the reality here is if there's a lesson to be learned, when you're a fake, and sometimes you don't mean to be a fake, you play the PR game because you get hit by all kinds of sponsors and supporters and all that crap. When you don't put your foot down and you're not upfront with everyone, understanding that people have different thoughts. This is the United States of America. Freedom of speech is freedom of speech. There is no messing with that. You want to decide that something's okay here, but not okay there? Someone mentioned Miles Leonard. Is he alive? That guy was a pretty good player. He should still be playing. What did they do to him? I'm going to be interested to see if they're going to do the same thing to Kyrie. Why is it okay for Myers Leonard,
Leonard.
right? Why? Why was it okay to ostracize him, but we're going to give Kyrie 5 days off? He's going to change his mind after 5 games? He hasn't changed his mind dropping what, $17 million last year? Guys, make a decision. There's a really good line in training day. Make a decision. Make a decision.
Well,
Who are
I
you
will say,
going to be?
Alonzo Harris.
Who
Alonzo
are you
Harris.
going to be? Are you going to be a riffraff fake, which most people are, not just the NBA, just in general people? Or are you going to be real? Be real. Make a decision. Gerald, make a decision.
Well, I'm going to make a decision right now. Go ahead, Sean. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, Gerald, I was also going to say, along with nobody speaking up about the Kyrie situation, did anybody really speak up about Anthony Edwards and what he had to say? I didn't see many of his peer group coming up and waving that flag. And I think unfortunately, the reason for that is what Joe surmised the reason for the Kyrie situation is, and that's a story for another day. I'm not going to go there.
Yeah, that's something. That's going to get us in a whole world of
is that
issues right there.
Joe touched on it. It's politics. There are politics involved in people not speaking up, because there's a great line in LA Confidential, Gerald. Did you like LA Confidential?
Thought it was good, not great.
Okay. There's a great line in LA Confidential where James Cromwell is the head detective, and he's talking to Russell Crowe, and he says, no, excuse me, he's talking to the other gentleman. I can't remember his name, but he says, Edmund, you're a political animal. You have the eye for human weakness, but not the stomach for it. And that's what Joe was talking about. A lot of these people know what they see. They just don't want to say anything because they know the blowback will just eat them alive.
Well, I will say that because of the things that he has done in the past few years, including this situation right now, I said it to you guys in the email, and I said it also in the chat. He has cost himself, especially when you're considering the fact that he is in a contract year and would want to sign a multi-year contract afterwards. He's probably cost himself $1 to probably $3, as much as $300 million. When all is said and done over the course of his entire career, how much by his decisions he has made financially. I mean, no, is that as much as Kanye's lost in the past couple of weeks? No, but still, potentially up to $300 million lost is still up to $300 million he could have, gotten had he made better decisions in his life. But again, that stuff, it is what it is. I think posting shorts where Joe rants about how upset he is with the Lakers play would really help the growth of the channel. Ooh, great suggestion, The Range. You know what? We might just accommodate that. I know it will. I'm going to be honest with everybody out there. When we were talking about a Patreon down the road, once we get more popular, that's something we were going to do as far as Joe Unfiltered is one of the ideas that we have down the road. But for now, maybe some Joe shorts. Maybe I can go ahead and talk him into it. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. The Range says Joe is box office. So there you go.
Thank you.
He's Brad Pitt. He's Brad Pitt.
And by the way,
no, that's not. I'm not Brad Pitt. Jesus.
Well, you said you were last week.
Joe, are you growing a goatee as well?
No, I prefer to let the 5 o'clock shadow get to 8 because I enjoy the 3 to 4 day shave better than the 2 day shave.
Okay.
The skin feels better. It cuts off quicker or easier. I'm not a facial guy. I mean, I've had a goatee before and some stuff, but overall, I prefer the clean look. But I do enjoy growing it out 3 or 4 days sometimes. Usually 3 days, but sometimes I'll go 4. So that when I do shower and shave, it's just it's less damaging it's less like itchy on my face.
Well, Blue also says do some MagicMan shorts too, so that he can argue with Laker Tom or Jamie. So there you go.
Okay.
There you go.
Arguing with Tom is doesn't make me feel good.
No, it doesn't. It's like it's like arguing with your great grandfather.
Yeah, it's like arguing. See, I grew up with really.
Oh,
There's a
see,
respect. Now, I'm not saying I haven't
Plus, he
gone.
can't hear half the things you say because he's
It's
usually when he gets on a roll, he's ranting. He does not listen to you.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't think we should treat Tom differently because he's
Because
an
he'll
older
kick all of our
gentleman.
asses. Let's
Yeah,
put it that way.
well, it's not just that. It's just I consider from a basketball perspective, Tom is a savant to me. And basically, when you're arguing with Tom, it feels like you're just arguing with an equal. And
Yes.
I don't
Yes, Blue, he
look
can
at
be fiery. Yes, I
yes,
know
he
this all too
can.
well.
So like so like when you're having a conversation with somebody, it shouldn't be about gender. It shouldn't be about age. It's about the topic at hand. And do you have the goods or not? And can it make for a good conversation? And with Tom, it's always a good conversation, whether he can hear you or not.
The last thing I want to touch on before we head it out, and I gotta head on out, unfortunately, but we will be back tomorrow after the game. It's going to be around 10 p.m. Pacific because it comes up after the game against Utah tomorrow night. I am also working behind the scenes with Playback.tv. I have a meeting with them tomorrow, so hopefully all goes well so we can start doing these watch parties. I don't know why I need an extended meeting, but they asked for one. So I said, okay, just tell me yes or no. Just let me go on my way. It would be great. But again, it is what it is. But Petting My Cat says, I think it's laughable you guys care so much. Kyrie can post how much he hates white people, and I wouldn't care. It's his right and his own opinions. Well, it is his own opinions, but also as well, it's the fact that we can also share our opinions as well, and how much we are, at least I am, how much disgusted I am by what he's been posting out there. So we can also do that, and that the majority of society does not believe what he believes, which is something that I think that we're coming to, and that's the reason why he's in the position that he's in. It's because most of society does not believe what he believes, and it's becoming a detriment to the league because he's doing these things. And I know Joe is more in line as far as being able to express himself any way he wants, and obviously that's been Joe's case as well, as far as being able to say how he feels. And just for me, it just like comes to the point where if this kind of hate speech, this kind of belief, as far as this anti-Semitism, this misinformation, the stuff against any race, any creed, any culture, any ideal, any type of sexual orientation or anything like that, it's just wrong. It just live out your lives and be a good person. Is it so hard to ask for that? Just so hard. It seems like.
Yeah,
just so hard.
no, Gerald. I don't think it's so hard to ask for that. I mean, you're basically just asking for a modicum of human decency. That's it. That's it. If you got a modicum of decency from most of the general public, because there are anomalies. Let's just face it.
Well, let's head on out
for the
here.
most part, yeah.
Okay, let's head on out with Blue's question. Is what's the bottom line? Joe, do we think that Kyrie should be suspended until he apologizes? Joe, start with you.
It doesn't. I'm not. He's not apologizing. He is not changing, guys.
Yeah, he's not going to change. Even if he apologizes, no one's going to believe him.
Joe Soro, this is going. You guys really want this thing? You want to live by your words, okay? This is your words, not mine. Your words. I'm going to have respect for the ownership and the other owners and Adam Silver. When the 2023 season concludes and there's a new season that starts in July, if Kyrie Irving is signed to any team or anywhere, I am not going to take you seriously.
And I don't think anybody would. At this point, if he tries to apologize, it's superficial.
I am done with listening to the PR horse manure of this society. Whether it's Adam Silver, whether it's outside sports, doesn't matter what it is, teachers' conferences, senator, it doesn't matter. The amount of horse crap and PR spin and BS All you got to do is just watch what's going on in Washington right now. Not politics. I'm talking about the Commanders. Okay? Go look into that and see what happens when you're a piece of crap and you enable crap. There's stuff out there, guys, you can research and see why it's a bad idea. We've been hearing about the Sarvers and the Sterlings and the Daniel Snyders and all these guys over and over and over. And you guys keep putting up these pink towels during breast cancer month, and you're doing all this PR horse crap to show you care. But then what happens when it really matters? Are you doing what Rob Manfred's doing in baseball? You get caught with steroids, you're gone. Don't matter if it's Fernando Tatis, Manny Machado. Not that Manny's done anything. I'm just saying, doesn't matter who it is. Look what happened to Barry Bonds. Look what happened to Roger Clemens. So there's people out there, and I'm using those guys as an example, it's not, you can do it, guys. If you live up to your word, do it.
So if you want to build a bridge through conflict resolution, through, like Joe was saying now, PR, because this is what Silver's trying to do. He's trying to bridge Kyrie back into sane society again. However, to answer Blue's question, no, I don't think so, because
I don't think he's done. But he won't apologize, or at least
he won't apologize either, because that's the point, Joe. And that's what I wanted to say next. Is an apology is only served for everybody if it's sincere. If it's insincere, don't apologize. And by the way, like you said, Gerald, if he did, everybody would see through it too, because you know what? The eyes don't lie. You can try and say whatever you want, but the eyes don't lie and the body language doesn't lie. You could tell when someone's full of crap.
I just think right now the NBA will not give him a lifetime ban. I think at some point in time, because he's still Kyrie Irving, he'll get another chance in the league, even if with the Nets or someone else. And I just think that he will not ever have a sincere apology that anybody's really, anybody of any large audience is actually going to take for stock on it. So I just think that at this point in time, it's just going to be this is like a Band-Aid. It's like a Band-Aid on a hemorrhaging wound that's still going to continue to go ahead and fester and boil. And again, these issues are still there, and they're going to remain there. And he's going to come back and play at some point in time. And people are just going to try and forget it. That are going to go ahead and just focus in on how many points he scores and what he's doing. And just going to be hopefully at some point in time, according to what many in the league are hoping, that it's going to be as normal once he comes back on the floor, because he will come back on the floor at some point in time, because he's not getting a lifetime ban. I don't think for this, as much as I'd like to see him get a lifetime ban for this, he will not get a lifetime ban.
Love what Blue. Sorry, Joe. Love what Blue Magic just had to say. Kyrie has played 122 games for the Nets, but has missed 128.
Mm-hmm.
That says it all right there. You don't need stats. You don't need contract info. Put that into his biography as a Net. That's the summation. He shows up for work when he wants, what time he wants, and however he's feeling at the time.
And at that point, the sports in general, the NBA especially, when they start talking to the NBA PA, there's got to be number one on the table is we're not playing this game anymore. We're not playing this game where these guys decide because if they have a legitimate mental issue, okay, a legitimate issue with drugs, with, John Wall, God bless him, he lost his grandma, he lost his I think his mother too, or something like that. Yes, that makes sense. I was devastated when my parents died, and I'm still devastated. This stuff, yes. Context, guys, context. There's renowned comedians. There's political and sports and people in general that talk about context. There's a difference between this issue and that issue, and no one can seem to separate those things. But at the end of the day, you are paid $30-40 million a year to show up at that arena. If you don't want to play, then you shouldn't get paid.
No.
That's not right. If I stop working right now, my business dies. It dies. It's over. These guys, you keep paying them to not show up. The fact that Ben Simmons put a grievance in last year for $20 million that Philadelphia didn't want to pay him, and he got it, is a joke. Also, he can go play Call of Duty. Is that really what it's about?
Again, it's just so great the fact that we're not talking about the Los Angeles Lakers. We're talking about the Brooklyn Nets and something and someone.
Well, that's the topic, isn't it?
All right, Sean, real quick, because I got to head.
No. Oh, sure, Gerald. I just petting my cat. You're great. Keep coming back, man.
Comments just start getting good. Now you got to leave.
I just have to correct one thing.
Told you. You know why?
In the shop, LeBron did mention that he had a skepticism about hanging out with white people when he was in middle school. But what he said was when he started hanging out at their houses and he saw the different kinds of snacks they had in their pantries and how it was different from what he was used to, that he learned to accept people for who they are in whatever environment he found himself in. So to me, you can't equate what LeBron said in 2018 to what Kyrie said. Kyrie targeted a group of people and was bigoted. LeBron had a misunderstanding about a group of people, and that's the big difference.
Well, I will say, Ryan, as far as your fantasy basketball question, I think that Bruce Brown, he is playing some good minutes off the bench, but his minutes are spotty, anywhere from 15 to 30. I see him all over the place. So I'm not sure if I would bank so much on Bruce Brown, because remember, he's in for mainly defensive purposes, and anything he gives you offensively is a bonus as far as if you're a Denver Nuggets fan. But if you're fantasy basketball, he could be okay for you if you got injuries, but I would not rely on him to be a good member of, or at least a consistent in your lineup is concerned. So I will say that it's been a very topical and very interesting show, to say the least. I know we'll have more to say on this subject on tomorrow's night's post game. I will. I will make sure that we have more time. I'll have more time allotted for me, more time allotted. So we'll go ahead and talk much more about this situation if Joe wants to, if MagicMan's there, if he's awake, because I know it's on Eastern Standard Time. He might be out. But I know Laker Tom is coming back. Maybe Jamie Sweet will be here. We will talk definitely a lot more about it on the Friday night show. That's the post game for the Lakers and the Jazz. Remember, it's a 7:30 start time at the Crypto.com arena. Again, we'll be here at 10 p.m. Need Laker Tom and Jamie to weigh in. I know Jamie's been busy doing a lot of stuff. He already said the next couple of weeks have been kind of rough for him. Yeah, and that guy on Sunday. We'll talk to that guy on Sunday. But I will say Laker Tom will have a say because he said he wants to be here on tomorrow night's show. Jamie, I'm going to try and get him when I get a chance because I know his schedule's been busy. But we will try to get everybody's thoughts on it. And the idea in regards to shorts is something I will go ahead and express to these guys. Hopefully they'll go ahead and be able to do in the future. Petty My Cat says we can dissect every bigoted, racist, and homophobic thing every NBA player has ever said. Ban them all or don't at all. You know what, Petty My Cat? I say I'm kind of leaning towards that. Might as just, if you want to go down that round, it's either, all or nothing. And I think I would be, in my opinion, I would do all. If you want, that's the way you want to go, goodbye. We don't need you in the NBA. That's at least in my NBA, at least. So I will say that for me. So that's my opinion. But if you have any thoughts out there, please let us know where we're right. I know we're going to have a lot of comments, I believe, on this video. So go ahead and post it on YouTube. While you're there, please subscribe below Sean Grice today, or hit us up, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com, or also as well at LakersFastBreak on Twitter. Joe Soro's at Joe Soro5 on Twitter. And also go ahead and check out his awesome place if you're in the Southern California area for your lawn that needs transforming at simblades.com. It is a touchy subject. It is touchy subject, Blue, but we got to cover it. It is the NBA. It's very important. It is what we're about. And if the rumors to Kyrie or KD coming to Los Angeles, they ever start to build up, then that's what we got to do, unfortunately. So we appreciate it. Ime, Penny My Cat, Ryan, Blue Magic. You guys have all been awesome. Blue Magic, The Range, you were awesome. Truly appreciate everything. Howard Hill, awesome as well. Everybody that's been part of the best Lakers chat that's out there is here. And you can find it each and every time out. And we'll definitely touch on this subject a lot more because you're asking for it, and we're here to deliver on it in many ways, in many forms. And we'll continue to do that starting tomorrow night, right here at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. Good night, everyone.